Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon. I have the unenviable task of speaking after Tony Waller from Walmart and also Raymond Tong, who are obviously gifted orators. So thank you for being here. And obviously my passion is for the youth. Before I start with what I want to say about it in terms of the message, I want those who are involved with the Youth Leaders Program to please stand, because we want to recognize your role in youth leadership today. Can you please stand if you're part of the Youth Leaders Program? Come on, don't be shy. It's about you. All right. And of course, what kind of principal would I be if I didn't recognize the educators in the room? So if you are an educator, youth or adults, please stand so that we can recognize you. So on that note, I'm just really happy to be here. It's a great honor. I'm also ecstatic that they decided to feed you guys first, because as you can see, I really enjoy eating. And I hate to stand between anyone and their food. I hate being a speaker when people are waiting to be fed. So this is really good for me. I'm going to start with a quote from one of my idols, someone who I really look up to, and that's Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King once said, "Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education." Right? And that is so aligned to what the theme of this conference is all about. Advocacy through compassion. Right? I'll say it once again. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. And that's what I live by. In working with my fantastic kids in the South Bronx, I'll tell you a little bit about them. And I'll start with a summer school story, because I'm still supervising summer school. I don't have those long summer vacations. And one of the kids came to summer school with a fantastic T-shirt. And what he had in front was a logo that said Carpe Diem. So we all know what that means, right? If you saw Dead Poet Society, right? Seize the day. And that is one of the main messages that I want to share with you today. Right? It's important that you seize the day. It's important that you become bold and true to yourself and define what your moral purpose is. What is your moral purpose? What is going to be your contribution to making for a better tomorrow? Right? See, I did my homework. Right? I'm very clear on what this convention is all about. And it is a great honor for me to be here for you. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. You know, why is he up there? Why him and not anyone else? I really don't know, but I'll tell you. I'm a product of New York City. I'm a product of New York City public schools. I actually grew up in the Inwood section of Manhattan, Washington Heights. I was on the board of Washington Heights and Inwood. And I battled an identity crisis all my life. Most of my friends were Dominican. Some of them were Irish. So I was an honorary Dominican. It was the greatest thing, okay? I've probably eaten more rice and beans than many of you in this room, many of my Dominican friends. So I grew up in Washington Heights. I went to John F. Kennedy High School in the Bronx. Now, here's a funny story. I missed Bronx High School science by about 10 points. And they had this program where if you went to summer school, you get to go in because you missed it by a couple of points. Of course, I failed to tell my parents that I had to go to summer school to go to Bronx Science, because I valued my summers playing baseball with my friends in the Heights. So I ended up going to Kennedy. And, you know, that was just the beginning of me being a rebel and not being your atypical, you know, Asian male, right? Which is part of what this story is about. Why the Bronx Center for Science and Mathematics in one of the poorest community districts in America. Former President Jimmy Carter once called the Morrisania section of the South Bronx the poorest slum in America in one of his speeches. That's where our school is. I have 93% of my kids that qualify for Title I poverty, free or reduced lunch, right? They are below the poverty line. They are entitled to free lunch. They are coming in not reading on level, right? Some of them reading at the 3rd, 4th grade level. But here is the silver lining in everything, all right? If you actually saw the documentary, you would know that my first graduating class, I graduated 84% of my kids on time in 4 years. And last year, we jumped to 93%. We have secured in the first 3 years of graduations over $9 million in merit scholarship money for our kids to go to college. Here are the schools that some of them are enrolled in: Dartmouth, UPenn Wharton, NYU, Barnard, Middlebury, Colby, Syracuse, Fordham, Binghamton, right? That's all my alma mater, by the way. And these are kids, you know, and I hate to be so direct, Black and Latino kids that they said, society has said they couldn't handle higher level math and science, right? So I want to be clear. I want to be clear as the mission. It was twofold in terms of our work. One is to dispel societal stereotypes around our children, right? So I see no color when I do the work, right? Asian, Black, Latino, white, doesn't matter. They're children to me, right? They're all of our children, okay? The second purpose was to dispel societal stereotypes around Asian men, right? So the media is brutal in terms of how they stereotype through certain roles that are played throughout the media and movies, right? We are either martial artists or techno geeks, or we are the object of humor, right? But when you see an Asian American male running a highly successful school in the South Bronx, I have weekly meetings with resident gang members, Bloods, Crips, and Latin Kings. We have conferences. You see the kids with the blazers? They are off limits. Do not touch. It's personal. And there's an understanding that that's the work. So why am I telling you all this? Not to pat myself on the back, not to stroke my ego. It's to challenge you to find what your moral purpose is. Advocacy through compassion, right? You can be compassionate, but if you don't act upon that compassion, then it's just an ideal that is dead, right? So I want to challenge you once again. Figure out what your moral purpose in life is. What is that? In which you can rally other people around you to see that vision, and they want to follow you into battle, right? When I hire my staff, it's very simple. As the name of the documentary, whatever it takes. I ask my teachers when I'm interviewing them, what does those words mean to you in the context of servicing our children? Whatever it takes. And if you can't answer that, well, you're not working on my staff, right? And that's the bottom line. So boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, it is a tremendous honor that you have given me today to be a part of this celebration. And it is a celebration because when I look at you, I see hope. There is hope in the future of our country, right? And I'm hoping that you stand up, those who are doing internships at Washington, and please take some of the seats of those dysfunctional Congress people. Because we need people in those positions that are willing to not do what is popular, but to do what is right. And that is really important. Now, I will end with this. I'll share with you, at my graduation this year, we held it at Horace Mann, the Horace Mann Private School in Riverdale. They were nice enough to offer us the use of their auditorium. And we have a tremendous relationship with them. Our keynote speaker was Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson. Has anybody heard of Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson? Yeah. He's the world-renowned astrophysicist that is in charge, director of the Hayden Planetarium. Okay? He was incredible. And I will leave you with his thoughts, because I thought he said it so eloquently. He says, you know, everybody's talking about role models. You know, who would you like to be? Michael Jordan? You know, well, maybe not Tiger Woods. You know, Warren Buffett. You know, who are your role model? He says, kids, who says that you have to be like someone else? He says, you can take a little bit from Michael Jordan in terms of his basketball skills, right? You can take a little skills from Warren Buffett in terms of his investment skills, right? But in the end, you should see yourselves as being a role model for others to learn from. Create your own track, right? Create your own model. And have people say, ooh, I'd really want to be like that person in this way, right? And so that's my challenge. Be true to yourself. Find out what defines you. What are you passionate about? That leads to your compassion for others. And be bold in that journey. Remember what I said, do not do things because it's the politically correct thing to do, but do it because it's the right thing to do, right? To serve fellow mankind, right? So I thank you for this time. It was great talking to you, and I appreciate the good lunch. Have a good day.